Hi, my name's Lydia Peak. I've been in New Boston for 22 years, and I've been coming to the community church for 20 of those years.
I'm Howard Town, and I've been attending this church since I was old enough to be brought here by my parents. And I did attend Sunday school and became in attendance at the Sunday school until I was in my teens. And then I just would come occasionally to special occasions to church with my parents. And then after the war, I came and, believe it or not, tried to sing in the choir. Didn't succeed, but still stayed with the church, helped with the church suppers. You know, been at church all my life, you might say.
Hi, my name is Frances Town. I have been coming to this church ever since I can remember. I have my cradle roll certificate where my parents enrolled me in the cradle roll when I was born.
My name is Lisa Vickery, and I've been going to Sunday school for 8 years.
First time I came to church, actually I had wanted to start coming to church in town, went to another church, didn't feel comfortable, and my daughter Kristen was very good friends with the Katie's, with Paul Katie. And I was talking to Ann, and she said, "Oh, you've got to go to the community church, you'll just love it." And so I came, and I did. I walked out, I was, people were very comfortable, they greeted me nicely, they welcomed me, plus when I left, I felt good about the message. It wasn't boring, I could laugh during the sermon, and I knew that my kids were great with Sunday school, and they seemed to like everything, and their friends were all here, and I got a lot of new friends from coming here. I was new in town, didn't know anybody, and I met a lot of very, very nice friends here.
We've never been to any other church, and we just have, I've been a member of the Mispa Circle. I was a member of the old Mispa Circle. We are now called the new Mispa Circle. But there was an old Mispa Circle, which my mother was a member of, and I guess mostly because she prodded me a little bit, I was a member too. But I didn't have the time back then to be very active in it, but I did belong to that one also. And when it disbanded, because they just didn't have enough people to keep it going. And then we started the new Mispa Circle, I can't tell you how much later, the younger women. And that was getting a little down too, working with, well, it was still a lot of the older people in it. And a few years ago, I asked Woody if I could make a speech to the church, and I did, asking for help with the Mispa Circle. I said, we have done a great deal for the church over the years, but it's not going to happen much longer. There just weren't enough. There were probably 4 or 5 of us that were still working with the Mispa Circle. 4 or 5 people can't do much to earn money. And so I spoke to the group of the church assembly, and lo and behold, along came some people that were interested in getting it going again. And it's still going.
I think Sunday school is fun because I like doing the crafts, and it is really fun.
I used to volunteer to take the collection with Red Hebert. He made it his way to be here on Sundays, and then probably the attendance of the church was about 25 people. And no one, when they'd call for the collection, would get up to go and do it, and we were not assigned to it. We just became a habit with us that was our part, helping the church.
It's funny, when my kids were growing up, sometimes I couldn't always get them to go to Sunday school, couldn't get them to go to church. But then when they became outside of high school, when Kristen went to University of Southern Maine, she wanted to go to church in Portland, and she went to several churches, and she'd say, oh, it's just not the same, I can't find Woody. And even when Adam, when he went down south to Georgia, when he was in the Army, or is in the Army, he and his wife went to church. They went to churches on base. They went to church outside in Savannah. And again, he said, it's not the same. I can't find a church like ours. He said, they're all boring. The minister's boring. They could put me to sleep, and I miss Woody. And to this day, when they come home, if they're in town on a Sunday, they come to church. And it's gotten to be actually that Kristen on Christmas Eve comes to church at the 11 o'clock Mass, and she always has her two very best girlfriends from high school. And they're not even church people. They don't even live in town. But Jamie and Sarah come to Christmas Eve service with Kristen because they like the message.
I think we can thank Woody for the fact that this church has come up to where it is today. And to me, it is Woody's work with our church. I compare, in my mind, with Mr. Swanson's work with our church. And he was here for 35 years, or I'm not sure. He was here when I was born, and he was here till I was about 17.
I think Woody's funny.
I am truly blessed by being a member of this church. Mainly because of Woody. We had to move my mother-in-law down here several years ago, who was a devout Baptist person and loved her Bible and believed in God, and kind of missed that not going to church. I haven't to mention, and she would come to church with us occasionally when she was visiting us. She would come to church and either watch the kids do something or just come to church with me. And she loved Woody. One, she could hear him because she was hard of hearing, and she always could hear everything he said. And she also got a chuckle out of his sermons, and this is something coming from a straight Baptist lady. But when we moved Mom into assisted living, Woody went over to see her every week. And that was important to us.
When I go to church, I'm looking forward to thanking God for all his blessings.
This really is what you'd call the center of town. The people use the utilities here, and they're not necessarily church connected, so it becomes, you might say, a public meeting place, which is a necessity for a town to remain active. And the people that use it really appreciate it, because you hear the talk of why they're going to have their meetings and so forth. So as a result, it's a known fact that it is a place of meeting.
The New Boston Community Church is exactly that. It is a community church. It's opened its doors to the Boy Scouts, to those people that need to use the food pantry, to other various organizations. And even on 4th of July, when the choir's here practicing before we go out to sing, people come in just to even use the bathroom. And they look around and they say, oh, what a pretty church. Or they stop and they look at different things. We have done so much for this town.
The role of the church in the community is amazing. So many people use the church. So many people benefit from the things that the church does. The food pantry. I'm just so pleased that we have a good food pantry here in New Boston that is well managed. And I know that there are a lot of things done with the money in the Helping Hand Fund that we don't even necessarily need to know about. We certainly don't need to know who needs the help. But it's just, I think we do a great deal in the community. And I think just the influence of the church in New Boston is amazing.
The way you feel when you leave this church, I don't believe you can put a price on it. So it's always good to give back on what you give. And when I write that check every week or every month or however often it is, I know that I'm helping with what I get back from them. And I don't want to feel pressured. You have to give what you can afford. Don't feel like somebody's looking down over you and saying, oh, that's not enough. You have to be able to feel comfortable with what you write that check for.
We pledge because we feel that the church has to know a figure that they can depend upon as well as the regular plate collection and so forth.
The church needs promises to plan for next year.
You pretty well know why the money is going and who is controlling it. I have an idea at a time, there was a time in my life, maybe, in the church, when I felt, well, they were spending money somewhere where it shouldn't go with the other needs of the church, but I never spoke about it and never did any more than keep up the pledge. And now I go to the meetings and hear where it's going and feel that it's secure now. Nobody's just playing with it, putting investment or something like that and gambling with it. So it's a little bit different now than when I was much younger and didn't know all about the church.
My mom and dad give money to the church for other people in the community.
I sing the church choir, and actually I've been doing that probably pushing 15 years. I like the music part of the church. It makes me feel more involved and a little closer to the sermon. To me, the music is the spiritual part. And I like it. I mean, it's a lot of work, but you feel good about going up there on Sunday or Christmas, and then after church somebody will say, oh, it sounded so wonderful, and you feel good about it. The other thing I've done, I've helped on suppers, but I was also a part of the session when the addition was built. And there's a lot of hours, a lot of session meetings going through, a lot of arguments back and forth. But the day of the open house, or to say the dedication, it just felt so good to know that you were part of that. But you know, you don't have to just give money to be part of this church. You can sing the choir. You can help teach Sunday school. You can work on any of the suppers or anything. Just be a greeter at church sometimes. But you get out of it what you put into it.
Thank you for listening, and I hope you will all pledge what you can.
Thanks for listening. Have a great day.